Okay, here I am at the Italian series of poker in Slovenia.
Up the morning to
No taxis. We've just walked across the border over there. And then
we did stop for some beers along the way though.
we did stop for
Which
beers.
is to the Perla.
Okay, I'm here in Slovenia today. I'm jumping in the €450 main event. Got 3 bullets for this. Yeah, let's play. So I was actually feeling pretty bad on the day of the main event, and I went into it with a bit of a kind of fuck this, whatever attitude, which actually got rid of my nerves and meant that I was able to kind of just play quite ruthlessly. I think I made the best bluff of my poker career so far, so stay tuned for that one. Okay, so this first hand, so there was a limp and a call, and I looked down at pocket aces in the small blind. I ISO 5x, so I raised to 6,000, and there's a fold and a call. What's their calling range here? Maybe some suited Broadway, maybe some ace-x, maybe some small pocket pairs. I totally forgot the hand. So the flop comes down, 4, 6, 7. So I don't think this is great for my range. I don't raise with the lower pairs, so I don't have the sets here. They have all the sets. I do have the open pairs, but I don't think that gives me enough of a range advantage to bet it always. And I'm out of position, so I think I just want to check here a lot more. They bet 50% of the pot, and I put in the call here. The turn is the 3, so bringing in the gutter straight to the 5. Now the question is, do they have a lot of 5? Things like 5, 6 suited, definitely going to bet the flop to try and protect, but they also don't have that many combinations. If they have ace 5 suited, they might have ISO'd pre, but they definitely could have pocket 5s. So I check and they check back. I feel like with a straight here, you want to be getting 3 streets of value, and they can just keep barreling and get me to call with something like aces. So I actually don't think they have that many 5s in their range, but they still could. A lot of older players like to slow play and things like that when they don't need to, so who knows. The river is an ace, giving me top set. Now this is a really interesting one. I had an SPR of 1-1, which means if I jam, I have the size of the pot, which is interesting because they might not necessarily bet a 5 on the turn. They know that they could stack me on the river because of my stack to pot ratio. So I just decide I'm going to get enough calls from value to jam here, and I rip it in, and I'm hoping to get called by a set that's going to check the turn because they're worried that I have a 5, and I'm just hoping that they have enough of that to call. But it's really interesting. Should I just check and call off here, or should I try and go for value? Let me know in the comments what you would do. As soon as the hand finished, Blaze, who was sat on my left, was like, did you just river a set of aces? I was like, yeah. What are my bluffs here? Maybe if I had like 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw, I could turn that into a bluff. I also like having an ace because that will block the ace 5 suited. So maybe like just something like ace jack suited that's going to call once on the flop. First break of the main. Fuck me, it's bright now. Start off playing 500 bigs deep. Not my favourite thing to do. I've had nothing going so far. Some breaking news. €1.50.
The glasses of wine. Jesus.
This is the guy that I bluffed. So the low jack opens, the hijack calls. I call on the big blind with ace 4 offsuit with the ace of spades. Don't really want to play this hand, but I think you should be calling that multi-way. Nah, whatever. The flop is jack 2, 3, all spades. I check and it checks through. If someone bets, I could definitely raise this. I have so much equity, I can just get it all in, you know? But it checks through. The turn is a 10, and now the original raiser starts betting. And I'm immediately thinking this is strange because if he has any kind of overpair or any jack, he's going to want to bet and protect from those flush draws. This isn't sitting quite right with me. So the hijack folds, and I could raise here, but I don't want to get jammed on off my equity because I have so much there. It's a lot different on the turn than the flop. So I decide to just put in the call. Anyway, the 6 comes in on the river, and I look down and I'm like, this is going to go check, check quite a lot. And I can definitely represent a slow played flush here. I also block the nut flush, and I block the straight now. So I think about it and I'm like, this is actually the perfect opportunity for me to lead jam into him. And he's going to end up folding pretty much whatever he has because it's just saying it's so strong. The other thing, so my image at this table for the past hour or two had been Very straightforward, very face up. I'd shown shoves with ace king, I'd shown over the cards, and there was nothing that I'd been doing because I didn't have any interesting spots. And they're going to be like, she just doesn't want it to go check check on the river like a lot of fish do. And I knew that he would be capable of making a big fold here because this is what a lot of fish do when they have the nuts. So I go all in, and he tanks for about a minute, and he does eventually make the fold. So maybe he did have a good hand, but I don't know what he would be tanking. Anyway, Blaze was still on my left, and he was like, I have to see this one. So I show him, and then when you show at the poker table, everyone's entitled to see it. So I had to throw over the cards, and everyone's like, damn, getting fist bumps and stuff. So yeah, there's no better feeling. If you're not playing like a maniac, you're going to get a lot of folds there. So definitely going to attempt this a few more times. So second break, and I am awake now. However, this guy sat down at my table and decided to get the nut flush over my 7 high big blind flush. Although I managed to lose quite a small amount because you're really bad.
Yeah, small amount. Half your stack.
Half my stack. But I'm now awake. I've been cooking.
They're selling glasses of wine for €1.50.
Okay, so I literally soul read this player. You know when a guy sits down, and I think the girls can relate to this more, and you can just tell there's something in his eye that you know he just wants to bully you. He wants to be aggressive, and he's going to take any opportunity he can. Dum dum dum. So anyway, so I open pocket jacks, everyone's favorite hands on the low jack, and the button calls. Everyone else folds. The flop is 9-5-3 all diamonds. I don't have a diamond. I still want to bet here to protect my jack, and I can happily call a raise because he's going to have some bluffs with 1 diamond hands. I see bet this, and he calls. The turn is the queen of diamonds. So I check to him, and he bets about half pot. So I'm now thinking, do I think he has a 1 diamond hand, or do I think he's potentially just trying to bully me here? And I wasn't buying it from the get-go, so I called. The river is an offsuit 6, and he bets about 75% of the pot. And I take a minute or two. I just think he's going to have a lot more bluff combos than I'd expect. Because I've shown weakness in checking, he's going to try and bully me here. There's a few lower pocket pairs like 2s, 7s, 8s that are going to turn to bluffs. And there's also some offsuit stuff because he's quite loose. He might just have like ace 10 off with no diamonds. And I think he's got enough bluff here. And honestly, just something felt extremely off to me. And so I did put in the call, and he sheepishly shows me pocket 8s, no diamond. And I show over the jacks, and he's like, not impressed. And everyone at the table was like, nice call. And I'm like, let's go. I just heard Blaze shout across the room that he doesn't speak French. He really doesn't want people to think that. So they have a little closed off smoking room here, but they don't open the windows, so it's literally like a hot boxing room. It's pretty grim. I'm not smoking, I swear. The other 2 significant hands that I would rather not talk about are me getting cooled on day 1 of the main event. One of them was against my boyfriend. So he opens under the gun. He's on my left. I'm in the big blind. So he's going to open loose, and I'm going to call loose because we want to beat each other in pots. There's a call from mid-position, and I look down at 7-3 suited diamonds, and I'm thinking, that'll do. So here we are in the pot. There's 2 diamonds on the flop. He checks. It checks. I check. It checks through. The turn, I don't even know what it was. He bet the turn, and the other guy folded. I just put in the call. Actually, I don't like the way he played this, but I'll get onto that. The river was the 10 of diamonds, giving me the flush, the 7 high flush. And I check, and he goes large. If he ripped, it would have been like 2.5x pot, but he doesn't. He goes like 75%. There's no need for me to raise. I put in the call. He's got king 6 of diamonds. So he opened one combo 2 loose, and I called also 2 loose, which kind of screwed me. So he flush over flushed me. Unbelievable. I actually think he wouldn't bluff me that much in that spot, but I don't think there's any way I can fold that still. The other one was against the guy who I called off with jacks. I called king 8 off on the big blind, 3 players, 2 kings on the flop. He bets 3 streets, and I called him off, and he had king 9 and the 9 played. So I lost a big one there. Double bag.
Let's go!
Okay, we may or may not be DJing on the piggies.
It's my free games, bitches! Double that. Oh! Which is disappointing.
So we went for a bit of an explore around Slovenia and walked across the border into Italy, where we saw this lovely little town with a castle and chilled out there for a bit until it was time to head back.
My name is Pocket Peg, and I have a stack for day 2 at the main event. 99,000. Either have 25 or 33 big blinds, but I'm ready to go in there and give it my best.
Nailed it. Italian chic.
A bippity boppity.
Day 2, I went in feeling good. I ended up getting really lucky, shoving King Jack suited over a open-ended call with 25 bigs, getting close to the money but not that close. I got called by Ace King with the Ace of Clubs and I managed to hit there, so that was pretty good. And then I had 25 bigs. We are 20 away from the money now out of 600. I jammed Ace King, get called by Ace Queen, 2 queens on the flop, so I lost 15 bigs then of my stack. I've now got 10 bigs. I end up shoving over a 12 big shove. I have pocket queens, they have pocket 10s, and they hit the 10 on the turn. What's that? At least I've got an apple. I'm sat here playing video poker, eating a bag of nuts because I don't want to play yet. So, yay! I'm about to jump into the 6 max. Okay, this is me 10 minutes later after busting the 6 max. Right, there's a thing here with slow rolling. I shoved 8 bigs on the button. The big blind looks at his cards, puts the chips in. I shove my cards quickly. It's an all-in situation. There's nothing else that's gonna happen. He takes a sip of his wine before showing me his aces. They're also passionate here because they always wind each other up. I love it. So then I jumped into the Goodbye Championships and I saw some of the worst poker I've ever seen in my life. Ended up getting it in Ace King against 10-6 suited and there we are. Feels so low. Blaze also got knocked out for 6 max even after this huge double up. So we headed down to the casino to see what we could find. Okay, it's the end. That is the end. We're done. How many cashes? 0!
Sorry, we came for the fun.
We came for the piggies. So we picked up some big wins, but particularly this one that happened at the ultimate table. Me and Blaze headed down to the ultimate table. We didn't get off to a good start and we were down to 80 euros out of our initial 800 starting. So we were getting down to our last few pennies and Blaze ends up getting quad 10s. But the next hand I thought, okay, well, let's put money on the trips this time. So I did, and then I was dealt pocket 4s. I was like, this is it, here we go. And what do you know, quad 4s on the flops, which is absolutely crazy and getting quads back to back in ultimate. And so we ended up cashing out 1,800 euros. And then we left. Everyone's like, oh, are you leaving already? It's like, hell yeah. The next day it was time to leave Slovenia, so we jumped on a train to Venice, Italy. It's just like the Venetian here, isn't it?
I mean, Vegas has the real thing. This is a whole bunch of bollocks.
I'm here at Doge Pass, which is one of the main tourist spots here in Venice. But what I'm going to do is go on a casino tour of Venice. There's a few around. There's actually one that you have to pay 100 euros to get a boat ride across the sea. And then once you get there, you have to pay 50 euro entry as well. And the search began. We did stop for a few glasses of wine along the way. We found this first one, which turned out to be some historic poker club that is no longer in use. We saw some cool things and a magic shop, including this table, which wasn't for sale, but we would have paid a good sum of money for it. Okay, we've not yet located a casino, and it's raining now. But we're coming up to the next one. Don't know if we can access it.
So the Casino di Venezia is the oldest running casino in the world.
So this place has been going since 1638. We're gonna try and get in, but there might be a dress code, so we might not be able to. But the dress code wasn't the only problem. We found out that the casino was only open on the weekends, and we were there on a Tuesday. However, we did manage to spot it from the water, which was the other entrance, and it was confirmed by this man in a shop.
Because 3 days opening.
This is the best we can do, guys. So we headed back and stopped at our local wine refilling station and took a bottle back to our lovely apartment. But it was time to go home, so one last glass of limoncello and back on water taxi and back to England. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more. Next up is the Irish Open, which is gonna be a wild one.